extremely important too. As a matter of fact, many organizations use the Myers-Briggs type indicator or other personality type assessments in order to build teams, work through problems, work through projects, because they also see the value of knowing what people's personality types are and how different people approach problems or interactions differently. In communication, again, this is probably the most important part for me personally, is the issue of learning to talk in other people's type. It helps get noise out of the communication and overcoming barriers that may already have existed between people or in organizations. For example, here are some characteristics of how different types communicate. Extroverts are much more dynamic, animated communicators. These are the people who like to get in front of a lot of people and speak and be animated, communicating directly with other people. Introverts, much more reflective, much more low-key. They're comfortable communicating in indirect manners such as with email, memoranda, indirect ways. Sensing types like to talk about specific information derived from experience. They want to draw on, in their communication, on what's useful. They want things that are measurable, that provide detail and have actual examples tied to them. Intuitives, they would much rather talk or communicate about theoretical approaches, the big picture, in other words, as opposed to details in the sensing types communication methods. They will probably jump around, the intuitive jump around a little bit. They want general accounts, again, part of their personality type. In communicating with thinking types, they want to focus on purpose, they want to give the pros and cons or hear the pros and cons. They want specific things so they can make a logical decision about that. Feeling types in their communication want to focus on relationships. If a feeling type is the chair of a committee, that person may want to have contributions from everybody on the committee, trying to seek harmony in the discussions that go on in that particular meeting, for example. And finally, judging types and perceptive types. Judging types, they want to reach closure in their communication. Perceptives, on the other hand, that's not so much an issue for them. They're much more open-ended, want to explore different viewpoints. They're part of their curiosity, want some flexibility, again, and some more open-endedness. Now, before we go, let's do one short exercise, something for you to think about. Here's a situation in which you are an INTJ, an introvert, intuitive, thinking, judgment type. And the person that you're submitting a proposal to, for example, is an ESFP, extrovert, sensing, feeling, perceptive type. How would you want to communicate to that person in the best way to get this communication or message across? So think about that for a second. Let's think about you and your particular type as an INTJ. How would you want to be communicated to? Well, as an I, probably in an indirect way. Intuitive, what do you want to focus on there? If you were an intuitive, you would want to focus on the imaginative, big picture approach. Thinking types, they want something that is going to be a logical issue, logical things. And a J, a judgment type, you want probably a decision made right then and right there. So let's look at the opposite, an ESFP. An ESFP from the extrovert probably would want to have that communication refer to him or her face-to-face in an enthusiastic way, maybe spending a little time catching up. The sensing part of this would be to pay particulars to specifics. Finally, the feeling types, how this impacts people. And then the perceptive type, you probably are not going to get an answer from that person that particular day. You may have to wait a little bit later on because of the open-ended nature of the perceptive type. So in conclusion, there are no good or bad preferences. We are only different, no good or bad. There are based on 4 scales, E or I, S or N, T or F, J or P. Hopefully learning a little bit more about personality type in general and the MBTI specifically will help you to understand and appreciate yourself and to understand and appreciate others. And I believe this can help you in a lot of areas in your life, from your home life to your work life. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, and good day.